All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Readers. We are taking a quick look at TRKA and HUBC. Look, I talk about it on any stock that I see it. I genuinely hate when the moving averages are this tight. I call them a horizontal cluster of moving averages. But man, whatever you want to call them, I'm telling you, when they're this tight, it's just really hard to escape. And I'll show you a bunch of examples of this actually during the video. But real quick, before we go any further, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We're going to take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how this thing is setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages, these horizontal support and resistance lines, and then when we're done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please like, subscribe, comment, share, anything you can do really does help with the YouTube algorithms, but I swear, just being here and giving me your time is beyond appreciated, okay? And then, hey, look, I'm not perfect, I'm not all-knowing, I got no crystal ball telling me what tomorrow looks like, so if you've got different and better opinions than me, please don't hesitate to share them, okay? I'm not here to hate on your thoughts, and yeah, if you're right, believe me, I want to know it, okay? So let's get into it. And again, I'm telling you, the spacing between these 5 lines is actually really important in my process. You know, a good spacing is way better than something this tight, okay? And it's so hard to break one single line. It's so much harder to break 2 lines. Trying to break 4 this tight, trying to break 3 this tight, trying to break 5 this tight, man, it's hard because just kind of think of it like a boxing match, all right? This guy, this line right here is Mike Tyson. Let's say you happen to beat Mike Tyson. You've got Lennox Lewis right behind there. You've got Evander Holyfield right behind there. You've got, what was the dude that just won? Gerard, dude, someone just won over the weekend. Something Davis, I think. Can you tell I'm an earlier boxing fan more than a recent one? But yeah, like it's really hard to break. Like you basically want to break one, have a couple days to kind of train again to go after the next one, right? Like that's I think a good analogy. If it's silly, feel free to make fun of me in the comments. But yeah, you want the spacing. And look, I'm gonna quickly flash PLTR. Palantir. Same tightness. Looks like it's gonna go, doesn't. Looks like it's gonna go, doesn't. Man, beautiful string. Looks like it's actually gone, comes exactly back. It's really hard to escape. You know what I mean? And look, I'm not here to bash TRKA, but I sincerely believe Palantir is a better stock than TRKA. The CEO was part of Elon Musk's team when they started PayPal. Like, it's I don't think it's an apples to oranges, an apples to apples comparison. That said, if Palantir is gonna struggle with this, you gotta believe that TRKA, I don't even know, Torquia Media? I don't even know, I'm sorry, right? But like, it's hard, okay? And I know I said it on the last video. For me, I would much rather wait for this 30 to break than play in here. Realistically, as it takes longer and longer for the 30, this 200 is going to keep coming down and down and down, right? It's not like moving crazy fast, right? But it's making this swing from the 30 break to the 200 less and less appealing. Right? Like right here, it was almost 40 cents, right? Going from 30 to 40 is a quick 30 banger, right? 33, whatever. Going from 30 to like 36, it's 20, right? Again, 20% swing is beautiful, and I'm not trying to shy away from a 20, but the longer it takes, the closer that this line goes down and down to here, and it ends up moving where you would enter from waiting for this to break to, you know, waiting for this to break, right? And again, end of the day, waiting for the 200 at 36 is still a really good move because look, you've basically got gap fill, green. That should be a pretty easy ride all the way up here. That's a lot of percentage, you know what I mean? So for me, This 30 line is getting less and less appealing. And as this comes down, yeah, 36, 35, 34, I would much rather wait for that. And again, just ride what looks like a much safer place to trade than all this noise. And I'm actually going above it, like literally from line to line, I'd rather just stay away from. That's just me, okay? Again, risk and reward, baby. Like, know what you're trying to do, right? But MACD has slipped into the negative. Hey, it's not a super bad negative, but hey, 0 is better than negative 0.01, right? So yeah, I definitely want my MACD positive. RSI's been super, super tight on this 40 line. So in a lot of ways, I'm kind of disregarding this thing. The one thing I will say is volume's been pretty ugly. The last, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks especially has been pretty bad. There's definitely more reds than greens. And then really going all the way from the 13th to now, right? Basically from here, we've struggled to break that 50 line, right? I think the 20th was probably the last time we were over it, right? From the 20th onward, we only have 3 days that break this line. That's not good. Volume is king. Let's be honest. TRKA is probably on borderline meme stock, right? Again, no offense to everyone, but this bad boy needs a lot of volume. Otherwise, it's just going to kind of stay in this, or I mean, this 8 line is going up, 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 up. Now it's not. And if we're already struggling to kind of break that 8, but it was nicer when it was going up, if it's going to start going down, that makes me worried that this 19-cent line might lose. And look, after 19, green, 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 green could be a real quick red, 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 right? Maybe 15 will hold it, but 19 of 15 is a significant loss. That's about a 20 banger right there, right? So I'm a lot more I'm bearish, pessimistic, whatever word you want to use. I'm a lot more worried here than I am optimistic. But again, if this bad boy can break 30 or like 36 as of today, oh man, that'll be juicy up here. Okay, so yeah. Cool. I think that's all I got here. Let's take a look at HUBC. Okay, look, again, bad things happen under the 8 and the 20. Even worse things happen as you lose an all-time low support line, right? Like, let me just zoom out. After 144, man, it struggled, right? And we've already lost 30 cents. That's a 20% drop. I always say, once you lose an all-time low support, get ready to lose 20%, right? 14 cents is 10%. We've basically lost 30, 15, 15, right? So, I mean, that's the first 20 burger it's lost. Hopefully, there's not another 20 burger that lost, right? Because from there, this thing might lose another 22 cents, right? And that'll take you under $1, right? But what am I looking at? I'm looking at just being under the 8 and the 20. And that's not a good place. I'm looking at being under an all-time low support, right? Like, it's rough. Maybe this thing can come back to around 119. Maybe this thing can come to like 136, but I don't like using the word maybe like that when I'm considering, buying something or staying into something, right? Like, volume has been ugly. It's interesting that the RSI is actually going up while this thing's kind of going down. Again, I don't pretend to know the math here, right? It's also kind of interesting that the MACD is going up even though this thing is going down. Again, I don't pretend to know the math here, right? But these going down should generally mean these go down. So I don't know if, something means something there or not. But look, I would not touch this thing until 144 breaks. You know what I mean? It's kind of the same thing I just said with the last one if you were watching TRKA, right? Like 144, this is based on this one right here. Like, I'm not using this candle right here. This was the all-time low support that we lost. This was a support line at one point. This is now a resistance. And it's gonna be a hard one to break, in my opinion. Obviously, the 20 line is a very important one that itself is going to be hard. But yeah, this 144 is going to be a hard number to break. So like, that's kind of the max target I would put on this thing for a minute. But again, what am I seeing? All-time lows continuing, maybe losing another 22 cents. I hope it doesn't happen, believe me, right? I'm not here hoping that this thing goes down another 20%. But again, as you lose all-time lows, that first 20 makes sense. we're actually now below this line as well, right? Like I'm not going to draw support here. You can kind of say I could because again, you did at least have 2 green days. That might be enough to kind of call this something, but um, I'm not. I'm actually not. I think I want to see where this goes before I draw my next support line. So little rough on this one for sure. We'll look at the weekly, but I can't expect much. Yeah, like that's not a good weekly at all, actually. Because the last 2 weeks, there was maybe a reason to believe we're going to kind of go up. And look, I always say it, right? Doji doesn't count. Next week should be indicative. Or next candle, right? Like if this was the daily. Doji doesn't count, the next one should matter the most. It dojis me again. So again, doesn't count. The next one should be really indicative. That's pretty indicative to me. You know what I mean? Like that line looks like it wants to keep going down. That line looks like it wants to keep going down. I know 20 is a pretty low number, and 20 is actually for sure. Oh, it's actually not. Where were we? Right, we were at 15 right here. Again, I'm not necessarily implying it's going to go as low, but we've seen a 15.5 RSI before. You know what I mean? So I would be worried on HUBC for sure. So I'm a little sad that both of these did not look well. But again, I'd rather hear some like truth than a fake rah-rah. You know what I mean? So, hey, I appreciate your time. Let me know if you disagree with anything. Otherwise, thank you. Thank you.